All right, whiskey freaks, I've got breaking news out of the bourbon world, and this one is a big deal. Four Roses is finally being sold. Yes, that Four Roses. Japan-based Kirin Holdings has officially agreed to sell Four Roses to the American winemaker Gallo for up to $775 million. Now, that number includes a $50 million earnout, which means if Four Roses keeps hitting certain performance targets, Kirin gets a little extra something on the way out the door. Now, this didn't exactly come out of nowhere. Remember, guys, back in October, I told you all about the rumors that were floating around that Kirin was quietly shopping around Four Roses with UBS, and the bean counters were whispering that it was closer to $1 billion deal. But Kirin wouldn't comment at the time, which usually means, yeah, we're just not talking publicly. And we pretty much knew that, right? Well, fast forward to now, and it's official. Gallo, they're the buyer. That Gallo, the wine powerhouse here in the United States. And before anybody panics, no, Four Roses isn't suddenly disappearing or becoming allocated overnight. They're still operating the distillery in the visitor center in Lawrenceburg. They still got their bottling and warehouse facilities, Cox's Creek, the whole bit. This is just an ownership change, not a Kentucky exodus. Well, at least for now. Now, we all know what can happen sometimes after a merger or an acquisition. So changes, we can assume some changes might be coming down the road at some point, but it's really too soon to know that right now. Now, Kirin says the decision to sell came after reviewing its balance sheet and portfolio from a medium and long-term perspective, blah, blah, blah. Translate that into English. Four Roses is worth a whole big, gigantic, humongous pile of money right now, and Kirin decided it was really just time to cash in. They also said the sale lets them reallocate resources toward businesses that better fit Kirin's strength. That's a lot of corporate gobbledygook, right, guys? Now remember, Kirin still owns Kirin Beer, Fuji Japanese Whiskey, Four Pillars Gin. It's not like they're getting out of booze altogether. They're just shifting their focus. That's what they say. Now, they haven't said what they're doing with the $775 million, but I assume it's very elegant, very expensive, and probably involves rules we will never understand. Guys, if the Gallo name sounds old school, and it did to me, I was like, I'm not a wine drinker, but the Gallo name, I remember it from back in the day, and it's because it's the same company founded by Ernest and Giulio Gallo. They built this powerhouse back in the day with classic ads like, "We will sell no wine before it's time." Remember that one? Feels kind of ironic right now that they're stepping into bourbon. Anyway, Gallo dipped his toes into American whiskey back in 2022 when they invested in Horse Soldier Bourbon. I think they've got a distributor deal with those guys. And since then, they've been pretty open about wanting more whiskey in their portfolio. So right now, their spirits lineup includes High Noon, everybody's heard of that, New Amsterdam Vodka, Camarina, Don Fulano Tequila, E&J Brandy, Rum Chata, the wife loves Rum Chata, Licks Cocktail Shots, and Lucky One Lemonade. In 2024, Gallo's chief commercial officer said American whiskey and vodka were white space for the company. So really, buying Four Roses doesn't just fill what they called white space. It's really more like planting a flag. Guys, they mean serious business now as it relates to whiskey. They're going to be one to watch. I just really feel that. Now, Four Roses has been under Kirin ownership since way back in 2002. And to be fair, this brand really grew a lot during that time. We've talked about it before, especially here in the United States. Let's face it, it went from a label most people gladly walked past in the liquor store to a bottle that bourbon folks actually pay attention to now. That's thanks to their single barrels, their small batch releases, there's crazy yeast strain obsession over at Four Roses. Now, this deal is expected to close in the second quarter of 2026, and that means by June, and it's pending antitrust approval by the federal government. For now, they say nothing changes in your glass. Same distillery, same recipe, same enormous pile of yeast strains, Same people making the whiskey. Kids, the ownership alone doesn't magically change the flavor, no matter how loud the fervor gets out on the internet. My take here, I believe what this really says is that American whiskey is still incredibly valuable, even with all the talk about the marking cooling off. So stay tuned, because if anything changes or I hear any more about this humongous whiskey deal, I'll let y'all whiskey freaks know. And before I wrap up, I've got some really big news of my own. See, this podcast doesn't exactly pay the bills, and the wife keeps asking me where in the hell all the extra cash has been going over the past couple years. So I figured, why not write a book? Yeah, me, like real pages. Okay, well, digital pages. It's a Kindle book, and it's called Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength, Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. Inside, you'll find dozens of wild, crazy whiskey stories about outlaw distillers and shady marketing schemes, whiskey-fueled inventions, and facts. Lots of facts in here, guys. And some of them are going to be so weird that you're going to think I made them up, but I didn't. And each chapter ends with one simple question. Is the story you just read whiskey wisdom or bourbon BS? And you'll be the judge. It's best enjoyed with the pour you're about to keep or collect. It's cheap, it's fun, it's chaotic, guys, and it's only $10 on Kindle at Amazon.com. Some of you say you don't have a Kindle. Well, that's no problemo, guys. Grab the free Kindle app on any phone, any tablet, iPad, Chromebook, or you can read it right on your computer if you're old school like me. So pour yourself something good. Maybe light a cigar if you're feeling fancy. Look, I'm not your mom. Have a few laughs, and who knows? You might, I said you might, just learn something. Hey, I'm no Fred Minnick, guys, and FYI, he's got a new book out too. But mine's way more inspirational than Fred's book. Look, I'm just kidding, guys. No, all jokes aside, give it a look. I think you'll like my book. And while you're at it, grab Fred's book too. That's Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength, Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. The link's in the show notes. Check it out, guys. And as always, thanks for listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast. Cheers, y'all.